friends, how are you? We're starting off another week. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to be incorporating some various Profusion $5-ish palettes into this look. I say $5-ish. They used to be straight up $5, but I think some of these price at like $5.18 at Walmart, but it's a crazy deal. When they sent me a PR package recently, like they included some of these cool face palettes, some various eye palettes, and it's just crazy that they all fall within that like $5 to $6 range. They're so good. I've actually had experience with these palettes like years back, and now I've got their updated look, which is just a little more sleek and visually pleasing. But as I've looked at the quality, like palette to palette, let's say on some of the eyeshadows, I had the old Mauves palette, I look at the new Mauves palette, it seems the same. It's just kind of a packaging update. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to just build upon the look I've created now, which is just my base, and kind of talk about the highlight and contour palette and the bronzer palette. And I have the Blush 1 palette here, and then I'm going to pick an eye palette to use as well. But I feel like my skin is looking super flawless right now. I'll tell you what I've used. I've got a lot of Catrice on my base today. So I used the Skin Glaze Hydrating Primer. Loving this so much. This is what I've called like liquid pearl on your skin. It's a very soft glow, very milky, adds a little moisture, adds just the smallest amount of glow that tends to look really beautiful under different foundations. And then I use the HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. So this comes off more matte. I think it's beautiful paired with this primer because it just makes it seem a little more natural, but it's ultra thin. They say it lasts up to 24 hours, mattifying, water and sweat proof with niacinamide. I'm a huge fan of this. I've been wearing this for like the last several days and I can't get over how fresh it looks all day on my skin. Like I remember first using this product back in, it must have been like maybe 2019, 2020-ish, somewhere in there, and I recently repurchased it with my little Catrice Renaissance that I've been having on my channel, and I wear sand beige. I just absolutely love it. Hardcore, really nice, long wear, fresh all day, beautiful looking foundation. And then I thought I'd grab out the under eye brightener from Catrice because this I have in light rose, and if you put this up against the e.l.f. putty color correcting eye brightener, I feel like I always like the e.l.f. a little better. This is very thin. The e.l.f. maybe has a little more hardcore coverage in my opinion. This is still very brightening, so I had some little dabs of that on the inner corner and then finished off my look with the Catrice True Skin. Now in a couple previous days, I didn't even do this step and only use the True Skin, which I wear in Cool Cashmere, and this is a really beautiful concealer as is too. Really nice coverage, looks so natural, wears so well. Great alongside the True Skin foundation, of course, and then also giving kind of a second chance to the under eye brightener setting powder. Look at the little container for this stuff. I remember commenting when I first used this, like, oh, my under eye looks a little dry, but I haven't really been having that issue lately. This is like my third straight day using this, and it has kind of like a light peachy look, light peachy pink. Set my under eye in T-zone with that stuff. And then took the e.l.f. Halo Glow powder filter in light neutral. That's just all over my skin. So yeah, I've been having some really good skin days lately. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's going back to the Vanicream Daily Facial Moisturizer as my primary under makeup thing and the Supergoop Every Single Face. But I just feel like day after day, even with different combos of products here and there, I see my skin later on and I'm thinking it looks so smooth. It looks so real, but yet perfected. I've been really happy with the looks. But now we've gotten to the point where we're ready to build with some of these little palettes. So this is the highlight and contour one. And again, this is from Profusion. This is going to cost you like $5 and change at Walmart. You've got shimmer shades up top, so all of those would pretty much be highlights, and then 3 matte shades on the bottom. This is called Light Sculpt and Tan Sculpt. So I'm going to kind of go between these. Yesterday I used the Tan Sculpt a lot and it worked well. I'm going to start and just see if the Light Sculpt really does much on my skin tone. Maybe a little bit. I'm seeing a little something from that. What Profusion is really known for in my book is doing pigmented, easy to blend powders in all formats, you know, face or eyes, at a really fair price. I always tell this story, but like this brand kind of started as a no-name, like anonymous holiday palette brand. I remember going into Walgreens and seeing fun little palettes that seemed kind of generic, and you know, you'd eventually look for a little sticker or something on them and be like, oh, Profusion, that's who's making this. But it wasn't a brand that was really shouting its name from the rooftops, you know? It's like they knew they were this little like holiday edition brand putting out the little cheap gifty palettes, and then they come into Walmart and really like make a name for themselves. They're a year-round permanent brand in there, and they've released some really great stuff, and it does seem like one of those brands, kind of like Rimmel, where it's like the online community doesn't have a whole lot to say about them, and I'm not sure why. They're cruelty-free, they're vegan. Give them a shot if you haven't yet. I'm gonna move into this shade right here. So this palette largely seems more about the highlight than the contour. And I feel like the bronzer palette, which I am going to work some of the bronzer palette in, that's got more richness and depth, but also warmth. So these shades are kind of cool down here. But I'm just using that little Sephora angled brush that I've, I guess, been gravitating toward lately. And I'm getting a really good contour out of that. You can get down here along the jawline. Anybody else been a little bit consumed with the Bama Rush content on TikTok? I love when this time of year rolls around and everybody's posting like their OOTDs, and I think it's so exciting and fun. So there's our soft contour. Again, we have some shimmer remaining in this palette we could come back to. I'll just swatch it for now. Gosh, those 3 shades. It's like soft gold, pure pearl right there on that finger, and then a little more intense gold in that shade that's on my pinky. But loads of shimmer to be found in this palette. Ooh, I could use this shade too. I feel like the cream light color, this could potentially be good as an under eye setting type of option, but right now I'm just gonna like kind of take it in this zone and use it for a little brightening. I don't need loads more powder there today. I've already done my setting stuff, but it's a very like soft pigmented white powder that could be used in this zone. For the bronzer palette, I'm seeing a slight shimmer in the top row, and the bottom row does look fully matte. It's just a palette full of different bronzers, you know? 6 different shades here, varying levels of warmth and depth. I'm gonna take a little bit of this shade right in the middle top, the one called Cabo. Again, any shimmer in it seems pretty subtle. But I'm going to take this kind of across the forehead and just see what this does for my overall skin tone. The textures of the powders are pretty soft. Like when I put my brush in, I feel like I am kicking up a little excess. I want to see down here, like, are these shades going to just be way too warm? This one called Tahiti right here. You just see them in the palette and you think, will I turn orange? Well, I'll take one for the team and tell you. Because seeing a bronzer or blush shade in a pan is one thing, seeing it sheared out on your skin is another. Okay, I'm not mad about this. This reminds me of the Maybelline City Bronzer in the shade 300. I feel like I'm getting my hair out of my neat little ponytail. I'm wearing this little black shirt dress today. It's really cute. On top, it just looks kind of plain. And I feel like this shade right here, this kind of like brownish tan up top called Santorini, that could be a really good contour too. I really like what that shade's doing. Santorini, the depth. We've got Bora Bora here, which is light and matte and could be kind of a blendy type of color, you know? Almost like you want to transition out of your bronzer shade a little bit. And then we've got this one, our deepest, and this one seems to have like a little more reddish tone in it. I'm just applying it like a little bit lower out here. I don't need any more bronzer on my skin right now, but it's a palette for bronzer fans, is it not? It's full of bronzer. This is gonna really like adjust your skin tone. This is gonna have those cool shades that really sculpt you, and also that shimmer for highlighting. Let's pop back in here. I'm gonna go to Heartfelt, right in the middle. Seemed like the brightest one. Fully pigmented. This is reminding me of the texture and look of like the Milani Afterglow highlighter that I love so much. I always compare that to high end. That is so pretty. Those shimmery shades are not loaded with a bunch of glitter, just super smooth, but we still got blush. And the blush palette, especially this blush one, I don't know if they're still making the blush two, but that one definitely had some richer blush shades. This has a couple of shades that could potentially be highlights in it too. 2 up top. We've also got like a bronzy shimmer. Is this trying to just be like a real multitasker here? This would probably be a highlight as well. This one called Bronzite right down here. All over bronzy glow potentially, but Bashful, I used this as my highlighter yesterday for sure. You know, kind of pinky tone brightener. And then Sweetheart right over here. That's going to be your peachy highlight. And then blushes, I'm looking at You and You right here. This one's got a little shimmer. This one's like this matte bubblegum pink. And then we have a peach over here called Delight, which I don't know how much that's going to show at all. As far as being a pure blush lover's palette, I don't know about that. Like, I feel like the bronzer palette is really doing it for people who like bronzer. The blush palette, I'm getting 2 real tastes of true blush here. I could try putting a little bit of Delight on my skin. Like, yeah, it's just coming off looking like skin tone powder, you know? Let's take some Blossom first. This is our matte pink. A lot is picking up on my brush. Are we seeing that light, fresh, bubblegummy tone? I've got to look up on Walmart's website and see if they're still doing the blush too, because I remembered owning that also. This is looking pretty. It's a matte blush, but like that light pink tone really does make you glow. And I'm going on top of highlight applied from the Highlight and Contour palette. That's cute. I'm seeing it. Deeper skin tones I don't think would get a lot of satisfaction out of that. I'm just seeing it softly. This shade called Popular, super pretty, like reddish blush with some shimmer. Picking some of that up. That's going to be the main source of color for this palette. And I think with a 6-shade palette, like, I don't really understand. You're going to give us a blush palette, but it's really full of 3 highlighters and 1 inactive, like, that's not very blushy. Replace that with something that really shows, you know? This palette needs an update, but I do love the rosiness. That's like Snow White's blush down there in the corner. That shade I can fully get behind. You can keep a couple highlights in here if you want. Heck, keep 2, but take these 2 down here and give me actual blushes. The rosiness is so good. Now, I checked Walmart's website, and sadly it looks like the Blush 2 palette, which had just more depth all around, still giving some highlighter shades within the blush palette, but it just had a little more richness. It looks like that one is not available anymore. So as far as these face palettes go, honestly, I kind of like the bronzer palette best because I feel like this one stayed in its lane the most. It's called bronzer, and it effectively went there with bronzer in 6 different ways, and I feel like I can handle the warmth that it gives, and I think it actually combined light intensity, deep intensity, warmer, and slightly cooler shades. It did a good job of that. I also do like the Highlight and Contour palette. I don't know if they really even had to give the 3 highlights that are quite similar, honestly, like in their brightness level, but I love what's happening down here. I think people would have a very easy time using these shades, and this could even be like an under eye setting powder. This could be a very easy natural eye look in this palette too. So I don't know, all in all, with its multitasking capability, I like both of these. For blush, I just feel like given Profusion's pigment ability with all their products, they could have done a little better with the blush one. We've got 2 legit blushes, 3 highlights, 1 kind of no-show. Just fill it up with blushy shades, friends, but that 1 rosy shade is so good. All in all, I've ended up very happy with the way the face is looking. We're gonna bust out an eye palette, but first I'm gonna do my brows. I did my brows. I just used my little Morphe duo of products, the Nano Pencil and the gel, which holds really well, by the way. That Micromanager gripping brow gel really keeps them in place. But the palette I'm going to use today for eyes, and this would be their 10-pan style. They've got bigger palettes. They've got a lot of different things at Profusion. But we're talking about those palettes that all fall in the $5 range, and this one called Euphoria was sent to me, and it's a new one to me. Another one I used recently that I really loved is called Nudes. This one makes me think of Patrick Ta Major Dimension 1 in a big way, and it blends so beautifully if you're looking for brownish bronze, kind of fall vibes really as you look at the richness in this palette. I love it so much. Another couple good ones that they have are the Mauves palette and the Smoky one. But in this video I thought let's try something that's a little bit new and different. You can see the blues, the cool colors. I love a navy eye look. So we're gonna get into this one today. Where do we begin? Where do we start our eye look when the palette looks like this? Well, I'm still looking looking for mid-tone intensity, even if it doesn't look like medium beige, you know what I mean, or light tan. So I'm looking up here to maybe one of these shades in the top row. I'm gonna go to Micro right here. So this is a matte. There are mattes here in this palette. These two, that's probably a matte. We have like a dark turquoise. Everything else has some level of shimmer. But I'm gonna take this grayish tone and just work it back and forth in my crease, okay? It's funny because sometimes even in palettes where, let's say there is a navy twist or a lot of cool, there might still be that transition brownish color that you could start with and feel kind of at home with. This is the same depth level as a medium brown, but it's just gray. Cool. So I'm just blending that back and forth in my crease. I might go to Equinox, which was looking a little bit darker right here. I might do that after this shade. It's funny how all at once you kind of notice a shift in nature. Like our temperatures here are still crazy hot. We're gonna have like a over 100-degree day today, I think. I'm shooting this on Monday. Like I could tell last night we were swimming. It's getting darker earlier. And now like even in the morning, you know, having a little bit darker mornings longer. Probably gonna get my fall decor out this week, just warning you. I was so proud of myself. Last Friday, I went down to my furnace room and it had gotten to the point where we were just kind of like, when the seasons would change, we would just shove the tubs in the room instead of really getting them back on the shelves and getting everything neat and organized. So I got everything in that room neat and organized again. There is so much floor space now. If somebody comes in there to work on the air conditioning unit, you know, they've got room to play. And I'm also ready to grab out that fall stuff when the time comes. Okay, so that's Micro. Can you see that I've softly blended it? It's not a very deep shade, but I'm gonna go to Equinox right next door, which is slightly deeper and actually seems a little softer. And I'm gonna focus that maybe a little bit more on the outer corner. I remember first thinking I liked grays back when I was using a Meat Matte palette from the Balm. I was back in the other house. They had several variations of that Meat Matte hues, different things. And after using just lots of browns and maybe other colors, I finally realized like, oh, I think I do like grays also. See, now we're really getting somewhere with the color. I'm going to clean off my brush a little bit, and I don't feel like I have a shade that's going to just be the perfect underbrow thing. We don't have a matte in that category. This light shade here, this pearl, I don't know that I really want that up under the brow. So what you can do if you find yourself in that place is clean off your brush a little bit, which can be just swiping off on your hand for the time being, and then just use that basically bare brush on the border of whatever you've got. And that will help blend it back into your skin, and you don't have to ultimately have a highlight shade at all. But okay, that's our beginning. I cannot wait to get down to this. So this is what we're doing next. Flat brush, Morphe M303. This is called Conjunction right down here. Picking that up. Okay, I didn't need to go swipe, swipe, swipe because a little of that seems like it's gonna go a long way. I'm gonna pat this on my outer corner. Oh, we're gonna get some satisfying blue here, friends. Seeing what's happening? Oh, cool. Something I love doing on my channel is integrating some color, but really presenting it in a way that feels wearable to me. Like I just have that practical tendency where it's like, yes, it's fun to just do looks for fun and just play with the makeup and make it as wild as you please. But the magic in it for me is letting that be something that you feel really comfortable wearing around in everyday life. And color can totally be part of that. But like, how do you make it something that feels really wearable? So we've patted that onto here, and I do want to see some of that shade like blend into the grays too. So I'm flipping my brush a little bit, and whatever's left can kind of merge in there. I might even pull in my small pointed brush again with that rich blue. It's really not so much navy as it is royal blue. As it pairs with some of that gray, it can look a little navy, but I think at its core that shade is royal blue. And it's fun, and we're making it a little bit hazy with the use of gray as well. So many options to go inward with. Look at this color right here. It's like, it's got shimmer and a real blue boldness. We've got teal here. We've got this shade. Ooh, that's kind of fun. That's more of a sheer glaze from Profusion right here. We also have retrograde up here, which I think is going to perform like a matte black, all in all. Like it's got this starry night sky kind of look in there. That's going to look like black. This color, ooh, That's pretty. Oh, I'm almost seeing like smoky purple out of that. And then I'm seeing taupe up top right here, coming off very silver actually. That's interesting. So there's just a close-up look at all those textures. I'm thinking of going with this shade right here and applying that inward on my lid, and also seeing like, what does that look like as it overlaps some of the blue. Also, before I do that, I might even add in a little more blue, just because sometimes your intense color shades, as you really work to blend, they can fade a little. They can get a bit consumed by the blending you've tried to do. So I just want to reinforce that for a second. So we're taking Element. It really looks like the shimmer practically has a multicolored twist. Not sure I'm loving how that shade's picking up with a brush though. Look cool in the swatch, but it's looking faint. I'm going to take it with my finger. I think it's worth pursuing this shade. Yes, she is pretty. And try to make sure that it's doing a little overlapping. I'll come in closer once I get this on here. Can you guys see what's going on there? That's such a pretty color. Like, I am seeing some of this sort of multicolored sparkle that's in it. Can you guys tell as I hold this? Some of the shimmer is like shifting all different colors actually. But you really, I think, do need the pressure and the swipe of a finger to get it on there and get the most out of it, because a brush was doing not much for this. But I wouldn't say this is typical of Profusion palettes. For example, this Nudes palette, a brush works with every single one of these. Same for like Mauves and the Smoky palette I mentioned. Those are very everyday. You can tell they're trying to do something a little bit off the beaten path with this one, and that's okay. Gosh, I would then take maybe a little bit of this white. And I know this has a lot of sparkle in itself, this shade, but like just something to get in the innermost corner. What do you think, friends? I think this is fun. Now, I think this could be gorgeous, you know, nighttime smoky eye, get one of the richer shades, put it down on your lower lash line. But what I'm going to show you is something that could keep this wearable is keeping it very upper eye focused. And I'm going to pop some mascara on and I'll show you the finished look. I think you're going to like it. See what I mean about keeping it wearable? Like, isn't there so much magic in this? I love the way this look turned out. I just chose to keep it upper eye focused, and I did a little liner across the upper lash line. All I did, I probably went 2/3 of the way across with this lights out black jumbo pencil from Hard Candy, and it just looks kind of smudgy. I can tell it's there, but it's so soft. And then I went only on top with upper mascara today. I used the Too Faced Ribbon Wrapped. I'm really liking how lengthening that is. But this look feels so clean and complete, and from a distance I feel like I just have that nice kind of lift from my eyeshadow, but you come in close and it's like, oh, there's a little blue there. That's fun. And then for my lips, part of what makes this whole face really work for me is keeping the lips kind of soft. So I went with my LA Colors lip liner pencil in the shade Natural. This is such a good one to have, guys. The overall color is really that. And then I went on top of it with my Wet n Wild lip oil in Cocoa Rose. So that's giving me the shine. It's really echoing the color of the lip liner. This is a more pigmented one of those Wet n Wild lip oils. Some of them are super sheer, but that has some pigment. I'm loving the cheek. You know, we used other palettes. We've got some glow happening on our face, but it's fun to work in a little bit of color. And this is my reminder to myself as well. Like, don't feel like you glance at a palette and it's full of colorful shades and you think, well, that's gonna need a special occasion, or that's gonna need this certain circumstance to wear it. No, you could wear this any day of the week. The look could have revolved around this shade and it would have been really pretty too. But those colors can be part of a look that can be very everyday and just add a little bit of fun to your look, but doesn't have to be wild, loud, or huge. But anyway, friends, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments section what different $5 palettes from Profusion you really love. I really liked using the Euphoria eye palette, but the more I think about it, like, the highlighter and contour could be very everyday friendly, multitasking, like use these shades on your eyes, and you also have some shimmers to splash in as well. And I like the way they did the bronzer palette. Like, it's for bronzer lovers though. If you don't really love bronzer, maybe don't get it. The blush palette did disappoint a little bit just because I wanted more blush. Okay, more blushy tones. But thank you guys again for your time, and I will see you all again very soon. I love you. Bye.